Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and today I'm going to show you how to emboss crystal clay, and while I'm at it, I'll show you how to make an earring. So here is a sample of what we're going to be making. I've actually taken crystal clay, which I have right here, and I've used a gold color, but it really doesn't matter since we're going to be using patinas on top of the crystal clay, the base color, but I did use gold. And then what I did was I took a rubber stamp, I embossed it, I let it dry, and then I painted it using 3 different colors of Vintaj patina and the glaze as well. And here's what resulted. So it's a really pretty earring, and it's a very versatile technique. I'm going to show you how to do it. Before I get started, I do want to show you just one other example. Here I have also embossed crystal clay, but I actually just took my Vintaj artisan copper filigree, the little leaf here, and I just turned it upside down and stamped my crystal clay. So that was a really easy way of doing it. But in this video, I want to show you how to use a rubber stamp. So to begin, we have an earring bezel, which actually already has its hook attached, which is great. And we're going to take our crystal clay, which is a 2-part epoxy clay. It is self-hardening, meaning we don't need to bake it or fire it in the kiln. And we're going to begin by mixing up equal parts of part A and part B. So we're just going to pinch some off. What's great about this is it does not start to cure or harden until the 2 parts are mixed together, so this will last you quite a while. And if I'm doing something like this where I want to fill a bezel, I like to put my little balls right into the bezel to kind of get an idea of how much it's going to require. And I always roll them into little balls to make sure that I have equal amounts. It's the easiest way for me to eyeball it. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and mix those up. Put on some gloves to do so because this is quite sticky. And then I'm going to fit it into the bezel. So taking my 2 balls and I'm going to squish them together. And I'm going to keep squishing. You see there's quite a few striations and a marbled effect. I want to keep blending them together until it is one uniform color. When you have a nice uniform color, go ahead and roll it into a ball. And at this point, place it into your bezel. Now, because my bezel is more of a raindrop shape, I'm going to go ahead and pre-shape it a little bit, just so it has a nice point to it. And then I'm going to set it down into my setting. And I'm going to take off my gloves at this point. And I'll just make sure to really wash my hands after I'm done. So now I'm going to squish it until it fills the entire bezel. Now if you are doing something where you're making a pair of earrings or you're doing a project where you want the raised dome effect to be identical between the various pieces, go ahead and pinch off equal balls ahead of time. So say you're making a pair of earrings. I would have pinched off 2 equal balls of part A, 2 equal balls of part B. I would have just mixed 1 set to begin with, so an A and a B. Done my filling of my bezel, finished my rubber stamping, and then gone back and done the other one. You can go ahead and share some of the workload, like make an assembly line, but your crystal clay will start curing the moment the part A and part B are combined, so you don't want to ever let anything just sit for a couple hours. All right, so I am happy with how that looks, and now I'm going to let it sit for about 15 minutes so that then it's not quite as sticky when I put my rubber stamp on it. The rubber stamp will then pull away nicely. If you were to do it right now, you might have an issue where the rubber stamp is going to not be able to pull away from the sticky clay. So we're just going to let that sit, and then we'll come back and we're going to go ahead and emboss the crystal clay. I've patiently waited, and now it's been about 15 minutes, so this is not quite as sticky as it once was, which is what we want. So right now I'm going to take just the lightest tip of my finger, and I'm going to run it over the top of the crystal clay. And that's going to take out any fingerprints that might have been there. Just smoothing it out. You'll notice it might get a little bit of a shine to it, which is totally fine. Once you've smoothed out your clay, you're going to grab your rubber stamp. I have one here that's a flowing leaves pattern, and I've cleaned it after my last use just with some water. So what you want to do is you want to line up where you want the pattern to fall on your crystal clay, flip it over, and carefully depress into the clay. You can wiggle it a little bit and then pull out. Now I got a good impression up at the top, but I'm not too happy with the impression down at the bottom, so I'm just going to take it again, press into the clay, and pull it out. And I like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let this actually cure overnight, so it's very hard, and we're going to go back with our Vintaj patinas and add this wonderful color and really make that impression pop. It's been hard, but I've been really patient and waited for this crystal clay to dry, and now I'm going to apply my paint. So all three of these patinas, I have cobalt, opalite, and ruby. They all come in a Vintaj patina kit entitled Antique Window, so I want to use all three of them. And what I'm going to do is I've got just a plastic bag here. This works really great as my little work surface, and I have a soft bristle brush. It's pretty important that your bristles are soft so that you can get into the detail here of the stamping. So you're going to want to shake up your paints to begin with, and then I'm just going to apply a little dab to my work surface of each color. Okay. So here's the one I've already done, so I'm going to use this as a guide. And what I'm not diluting these down. I'm not going to make a wash out of them. I want to use their solid color. And I'm just going to start by applying the brighter pink, the ruby, to the base. And I'm going to get it in all the little crevices, but I don't want to fill up those recesses. So I just want it to lightly go into the depressed areas of the stamping. And I want to go about halfway, and on this one I actually even want to go up a little bit on the side. Okay, now I'm going to take my paintbrush. I'm not going to clean it actually, I'm just going to go ahead, swirl it in my lighter color, my opalite, and then go and take some of the this nice bright purple, and starting at the top, I'm going to paint it up top. Now I'm going to go back to that little bit I mixed in, and that's going to be my middle section. So I'm going to now blend the two together. Picking up a little bit more of the ruby, just so I've got a little bit more of a blend happening. There we go. I'm just going to now let that dry for about 10-15 minutes, and then I'm going to come back with my blue, my cobalt, and paint a nice wash over the surface so everything blends together. Almost done with our earring. This is now dry to the touch, so we're ready to apply the final layer of paint, which is going to be a wash. So we're going to use cobalt. We shook it up real good. Now we're just going to do a little dot of cobalt and quite a bit of glaze. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a nice wash so that the underneath colors will shine through. Mix it up. Now we're going to paint over the entire top surface. And you can see it's already filling in the stamped area. All right, so quick little tip here. To make it so that the underneath the stamped area is even more apparent, go ahead, try to take a bit of the paint off of your paintbrush, so it's almost a dry brush, and then swipe it over the surface of your crystal clay. You're just creating more contrast. And there we go. So now you have that lovely stamped area which shows through. We've got 2 earrings here, and all it needs now is to just dry, and we're going to let that dry for a couple hours, and it won't need to be sealed. That glaze is going to work as a sealant, And then you have your brand new pair of earrings, which you created by embossing crystal clay and then using Vintaj metal patinas to bring out the design.